Welcome to the trial show for this week. Plenty to look forward to. Glen Ingram, we've had the run under our belt last week, so we should be hitting the line strongly on this week's show.
Yeah, really excited to get into it this week. We've got a stack of nice horses jumping out, ready to go. A few established horses and a few unraced too, I think we can keep an eye on.
A couple of future stars potentially, and also a horse that I think could become a star. I'm looking forward to seeing Observer the way that he's been jumping out.
Yeah, no, he's by the boom sire, isn't he, Gayeth? And he's had a quiet jump out, but he looked to go pretty good.
All right, well, let's get into the segment that he features in. Here is Cranbourne on Australia Day.
Yeah, Kieran Maher's Group 1 winner was given an easy time. He's coming back from a break there, and a pair of progressive stayers who hit the line strongly in their heat, and an unraced 4-year-old who's been given a bit of time by MV Yusufovic and sure to be rewarded.
What about Cummings say about patience in racing? It's one of the cheapest things you'll find but the least used, so that might apply to that unraced 4-year-old. Let's start off, though, with an import from the UK. Mr Monaco is his name. Will he do it? Also featuring in this replay. So both in the red silks. But Mr Monaco, trained by Kieran Maher, second jump out back. He beat Lit Steel at his last start over 2,400 metres at Caulfield. Lit Steel came out and bolted up on Melbourne Cup Day in the staying race. It's not the Melbourne Cup. Yeah, great form reference. And look, a little bit disappointed that they tipped him out after that because he looked like he was going to be quite progressive last campaign. He went for a break. This is his return jump out. And he was widest horse out on course there in the red jacket. The other horse to note back towards the inner side of him in the other red jacket is Willie Do It in the My Racehorse colours. Now, we know he's quite a handy galloper coming over from New Zealand, did measure up in a few runs in Sydney, but he can go to another level this campaign. Horses up the front there, light infantry man, that's what he does, he gets on speed, he's a handy enough horse, obviously, and I thought Mr Monaco looks set for a pretty good campaign. Yeah, I really like the way that Mr Monaco got home, and light infantry man in a autumn where there's no VS16, or it's still not going to be easy, but you can see him playing a part in some of those wait for age races over a little bit of ground. Yeah, well, he's got such a positive racing style, and he gives himself every chance. So, yeah, he'll be happy to see VS16 not in the form guide. I'm interested in your take on this horse, Observer, because for me, he's the 2026 version of Hitotsu. He's got that ability to win a really good mile race. He probably should have won the Caulfield Guineas, but he's got the necessary stamina to win a derby. Are you keen on him overall, or am I going a little bit too hard with the hype?
No, well, I wasn't on his side early days, and I was a late conversion to Observer. But look, they got him out to the Derby and they won the Derby. I think he did it purely because he was the best horse. I don't think that's his. I don't think staying's going to be his go. I think he, to me, looks like a mile and middle distance. Given a very quiet time in the Godolphin jacket. There's a couple of horses to note out of this heat. Little Jack, I thought, went really well in the white jacket, blue armbands. Gets to the outside there for Alex Ray. Quite a talented horse. He looked to go well. So, two horses to follow out of that heat. Observer clearly just having a quiet time, and Little Jack, I thought, found the line nicely.
Good to see the Derby winner in action there. From Observer, we're going to need the plumber for the next one. Plunger is this the horse's name from the Enver Jusufovic stable, and this is the horse that you said has had a lot of experience at the jump outs. There's been a lot of patience applied by EJ. That's the way that he trains. Plunger's had 7 jump outs overall for this preparation. Has won the last 2.
And this was his jump out here that really sucked me in. He's by ace high, and he's had a lot of, as you said, a lot of practice at the jump outs. What he does, though, he's just so professional, and a lot of this breed can be a bit hot and do things wrong. So I love the fact that he's been able to give this horse a lot of time, a lot of practice, and that's the hallmark of Enver's training regime. He does like to give him a lot of time, and he's an unraced horse, winning this jump out with a horse that goes pretty well. She's an artist back to the inside, and I think Plunger's going to be very hard to beat wherever Enver steps him out.
Is nominated for a maiden at sale on Sunday at the time of us recording this show, so just look out for the acceptances there. Rosberg's the next horse to see. He's a bit enigmatic. You look at him at the jump outs, and when he's at his best, he looks very, very good, and he produced that the first time he went to the races and won the Mackenzie at Moonee Valley first up, which is no mean feat to win at stakes level on debut. He was then beaten a long way at his next run at Flemington and pulled up shin sore and lame. So I've got him as the type that's got ability, but must have had perhaps some issues along the way or just some maturing that he needs to do.
It's been a wild ride, really, for a horse that's only had a couple of starts, because some of his jump outs he looked ordinary, and then he was given one jump out where he flew.
Yep,
and,
1 by 10.
And ran fast time, and then went to Moonee Valley and got it all right and won. So, as you said, he was sort of failed at his next start with issues, but he's clearly a talented horse, and whether they can get to the bottom of him remains to be seen, but we'll wait and see.
But overall, happy with the jump out?
Yeah, good jump out, good jump out. Another horse back to the inside, Kikako, goes well, fresh, so a good benchmark for him.
All right, let's leave Rosberg there, let's leave Cranbourne there. Let's go to Flemington. There's a couple that you wanted to highlight there, including Stealth of Night, who we're looking forward to seeing at the races this weekend, Glenn.
Yeah, and I think they've made the right call. They had two options on Saturday. One of those was a benchmark 70 where she would have carried 62 kilos there, Ed. And look, would have been hard to beat, but she's not an overly big filly, and that's her out in front there in the white jacket. And she's had a nice little tick over since that latest run, so she's had a gap between runs. She looks to be holding her form at this jump out, and I think they've made the right call going to the benchmark 84. So aiming up on Saturday, but down in weight there with the 55 kilos, and looks to have drawn a decent marble with Craig Williams in the saddle.
Yeah, gate 2, lighter weight, as you say. She's been freshened since her last win at Sandown. That was on Boxing Day. 5-year-old mare, but she's pretty lightly raced. She's won her last couple and 4 from 6 overall, so she looks to have a bit of upside. Photograph, what sort of picture did you glean from this jump out?
Yeah, I thought it was a good jump out from a horse that's had a good little break. So she's a 4-year-old mare, a Blue Point mare. Look, she's done a lot of her racing in the sort of harder races. I think she's tackled listed, group company, group 3s. I think she needs to come back to benchmark racing, and unfortunately she was sort of entered for the Balmain and another benchmark 80 or 84, I think it was, on Saturday, and they've opted to scratch.
Yeah.
So she's not going to go around, which is a shame, but two horses to note out of this. Clearly, Photograph went well in the white jacket. The other one is Barraquil, who was given a very soft time. I mean, he was out to do little to nothing, really. He's on the inside there in the Bennett Racing colours, the orange, black and white check sleeves, and just dropped back towards the rail there and didn't really finish off. So you'd like to see it again from Barraquil. Very wary of taking on Barraquil this campaign. I did to my, what's the word, Ed?
Detriment?
Detriment, last campaign.
Yep, you paid the price there, Glenn, but
heavy.
You've learnt your lesson, so that is
now.
good to hear. Let's go to Mornington as our next venue here on the trial show. What are the main points for us here?
Yeah, we get to see the Group 1 colt Tentaris, who's back in action at the jump house. Tropicus, another of the Freedman's horse, I think is going to the feature races, and Cliff Brown's stable star Sipples back in work. Good to see him.
Certainly is. Let's start off with Tropicus and also Tentaris in this replay. Tentaris is going towards the Lightning in the Newmarket. Tropicus is the second favourite for the Oakley Plate behind his stablemate, Point Barrow.
Yeah, that's good. So he is definitely going there? Is that what you've...
I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't ask Sam when I spoke to him. We spoke about Point Barrow, who's definitely going there.
Yep.
But Tropicus is on the second line of betting for the race.
Yeah, are the nominations out?
No.
Because he doesn't hold a nomination for anything, but that'd be why. So Midnight Charm races out in front here and sort of spread eagled the field. Tropicus runs on into second, and Tentaris is our boy out the back there, the Group 1 colt. He was able to win the Coolmore in superb fashion, and he was, they did a good job with him. He was slow to come to hand at the jump outs, and they timed his run beautifully to peak on that day. So well done to the stable.
Yep, I had him as the sort of horse that I felt was perhaps beating up on the lesser 3-year-olds when he was first going through his first couple of runs of the spring, but there's no doubting him after what he was able to do in the Coolmore. We're looking forward to the Future Stars heat coming up on Thursday night at Pakenham, and Salaray is heading in that direction. From the Cliff Brown stable, unraced 4-year-old mare who's had 5 jump outs, 3 this time in. She got home really well here.
Yeah, they've been patient with her, Cliff Brown, and she's a big mare. She's by Zoo Star, and she's quite well bred, and she's big, bulky, so you can sort of see why he's been a bit patient with her, building her up slowly, and she ran on nicely behind a horse called Point Moon, who's out in front there and showed a lot of speed, that horse. in the Roll the Dice racing colours. Solare is going to go to a very hot maiden, the Future Stars Series Heat at Pakenham on Thursday. A lot of nice horses stepping out in that particular field, and I think she'll run really well. I think she's certainly among the top 3 hopes anyway. You just see her sort of gets the gap there, and she finished off nicely. She's big mare, she's got a good action. There's a lot to like about her.
Yep. Would go into that race pretty fit, given she's had 3 jump outs this time in.
Yeah, look, it's a stable I don't tend to fall into too much first up. I think Cliff leaves a little bit of juice in the tank for him second up, so be interesting to see what the market does with her on Thursday.
Seeples from the Cliff Brown stable. Cliff's done a terrific job with this horse, who's won 5 from 9. Hang on, is that your phone or my phone ringing? It's Terry Bailey saying, "What are you doing, Glenn, featuring a 600-metre jump out on the trial show?"
I actually looked at my phone then. Thanks, Ed. Seeples, yeah, now, look, he wasn't lucky, but I'll tell you, he was a little bit fortunate in some of the rides he received in that last campaign. I mean, he went to an open class first up. He got the benchmark 100 and he ambles across from barrier 9, sits outside lead, draws 14, the Group 1 Rupert Clark. Great ride, probably one of the rides of the spring. Craig Williams again puts him outside lead. So he absolutely deserved those wins, but yeah, he's a nice horse and that's a lovely jump out.
You've been backing horses to beat him, haven't you?
Is it obvious?
All I'll say is that he did go toe-to-toe with Autumn Glow for quite a while in the Golden Eagle, which is no mean feat. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I reckon you should back him this autumn, then you'll be on the right side of things.
I reckon you're right, and that's a good form reference, isn't it, too, Autumn Glow?
Certainly is. All right, time for a break. More from us after this here on The Trial Show. It's wonderful to have your company on this edition of The Trial Show. We've been to Flemington, to Mornington and to Cranbourne. Now we're going to go north to Wodonga, Glenn.
Yeah, good setup at Wodonga. There was a lot of nice jump outs and trials up there. Craig Weeding's good form looks set to continue. He's got an unbeaten filly that jumped out well. We've got an impressive first jump out from a 3-year-old filly with Ben Brisbane and an unraced gelding I think we can chuck in the Blackbook.
These are horses that we might need to be a little bit patient with because they're at the relatively early stages of their preparations here. So maybe another jump out or so before we get to see them at the races. Kicking things off then with a snapshot from the Craig Weeding stable, 3-year-old filly. She's rated 66. She's 2 from 2, winning at Albury and Swan Hill back last spring.
Yeah, she's a naturally fast horse, so I wouldn't have thought she'd have too many jump outs. She might have another, but I think she could probably go to the races off this one. Craig Weedings has a great team going at the moment. He's building a really good strike rate, particularly up around those border areas. And this is a nice little filly, this one. Another horse that I was prepared to take on at her second start and made me look silly again. So I'm keen to follow her. She's got a good action. She's very sensible, drops her head, and you can see she's just had her ears pricked on the line there, and just a naturally fast horse. I think if they place her right, you know, she can keep winning.
Huge gap from second through to third, and the horse who's run second there was heavily pushed out to keep up with Snapshot. Love Me Tomorrow is the next horse we wanted to discuss here on The Trial Show when reviewing the action from Wodonga last week. 3-year-old filly, trained by Ben Brisbane. First jump out ever, not the quickest out of the gates.
No, she wasn't. So that is a negative, and that's a good negative to point out because you really need to be jumping well. What she did have in her favour here was a horse go really quick in front, so she had a little bit of a bunny to chase, and geez, did she pick it up. She loved it. She rallied late, she charged away. I thought she showed a good action. She's by overshare. A lot of them are sort of 1,000 metre, 1,100 metre horses, and yeah, just look at her work in the straight here, Ed. I thought it was pretty sharp, and you know she had the Ben Brisbane, Moody Coleman nose roll on, and hit the line nicely. So I think it's a horse to follow.
Yep. So she's come away to win this pretty well. So out of the gates is an issue, but she was quickly able to muster speed. So there's plenty of natural ability there.
I think so. And look, having that horse go hard in front obviously helped her. So we'll see what happens in her second jump out. She's definitely one to keep an eye on and watch for next time.
All right. Who are we putting our hard-earned on here? Should we be having a bit on Doe by the Sire Ramel?
Yeah, and look, what I didn't realise was our producer, Rommel, is moonlighting as a stallion also. So
he's got proven progeny that are classy types.
Yeah, up around the border area. keep an eye on Rom. So this horse gets right out the back. Another horse that didn't have a lot of gate speed. Again, that's a negative. We've got to be mindful of that. But, gee, this horse picked up late. Adrian Corboy's done this. Now, Adrian's obviously known for his breaking in work. He's, I think he's Kieran Maher's #1 man up there and does a stack of horses, and he sort of tends to keep a couple for himself and race them. And I thought this guy showed a bit of ability. Went through the line. They went quite quick up front, and Doe loved it. He's in the white cap, hitting the line, and his work through the line was really strong. So he's a horse that needs to clean up his barrier work. If they get on top of that, he could win a maiden.
Yeah, that was quite eye-catching, that last bit of his performance there. We're going to go now from Wodonga over to Pakenham. Talk us through the highlights here, Glenn.
Yeah, Moody and Coleman's new stable star was given a quiet time, just had a short spell. A former Queenslander, recent listed winner, also with Moody and Coleman, returning from a break, and an unraced pair I think we can follow in the coming weeks.
Let's start off with She's Arabai, who's won her last 2, won 4 from 7, absolutely bolted up in the Sandown Guineas, although Peter Moody did say afterwards it was essentially a glorified benchmark 70 that day. But you can only beat what's put in front of you, and she beat them impressively that day.
Yeah, don't talk it down. She'll end up in a breeding barn one day. We've got to talk it up. But
I don't have a share, though. I don't need
no.
nothing in it for me to talk her up.
Neither's Peter, by the sounds of it. She's Alibi, yeah, looked terrific. Fantastic at Flemington and winning the Sandown Guineas, as you said. Doing it easy. I think she's really progressive, and she can certainly go on with it. Horses up the front there. Look, she wasn't given a whole much of a squirt, was she really? Just to give an easy time to the line. I'm sure she'll have another. Sometimes Peter likes to give them, Peter and Kath like to give them 3. So keep an eye out for next time.
Can I give you a spoiler here?
Yeah.
She's Alibi has jumped out since then, so I reckon going to feature on the trial show next week. There's a reason to tune in for next week.
One less one for me.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Alpha Sophie. Now, this is a horse that you flagged up on the trial show for the spring, and I'm going to be honest with you, I was kicking myself when she won because I didn't follow your tip. Won, paid well.
$7.
Yeah, Glenn, you're rubbing salt into wounds here. So I'm hanging off your every word.
Yeah, yep. Sorry, Ed. That's the way it goes, mate. You've got to be consistent.
Can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it punt.
Exactly. Look, she'll be disappointed that Moonee Valley's going under construction because she looked a proper sort of Moonee Valley horse, real genuine sprinter. Able to sit off the speed here. That's sets her up well for better races this campaign. They did go hard up front. They did run good time overall, and she was one of the best of those closings. So nice jump out from Alpha Sophie.
Yeah, has a really good record too. From the former Queenslander, let's go to an unraced horse who was actually sold in Queensland last year at the Gold Coast Magic Million sale for $120,000, purchased by First Light and Mick Hoogland. 2-year-old filly that you've taken a shine to, Glenn?
Yeah, look, just a small field, but I thought, I watched the jump out, I thought, Mick Hoogland might have one here. So she's a filly, as you said, they paid a bit for her, $120,000 up at the sale, so a little bit of breeding behind her. And you can see Mick's just giving her plenty of education. She was just dropped out the back there and able to sprint up here. They didn't go overly quickly, so that's something to note. You can see that horse in front in the red jacket just backs off, and the back markers come up. But I think she's a filly that, she's a good mover. She's got a good action. I'd like to see her again. So we're putting her on the trial show as a Blackbook horse, and we'll follow her progress.
All right, so put her in your Racing.com Blackbook. Veronia, I'm very interested in this horse. In the Godolphin Blue, trained by Team Hayes, has won both jump outs this preparation. They've been at Pakenham. He'll be racing at Pakenham in a heat of the Future Stars on Thursday night with Daniel Stackhouse booked for the ride.
Yeah, looks good, looks real good. One of the main chances there, I think, on Thursday night. Hasn't done anything significant on the clock in 2 jump outs. Even in this jump out, she's visually impressive, but the time didn't really marry up. So you've got to be careful about that. What I liked about it was probably this part here. When she was asked to go, she really knuckles down and attacks the line. Well, he attacks the line. So he's a 3-year-old gelding by Earthlight. Ed, haven't seen a lot of them.
No.
Godolphin homebred, but I reckon he's got plenty of ability. And he'll give it a shake on Thursday. He's a good chance.
Yeah, I really like the way that he's stretched out there. He's got a nice action. So that's our look at Pakenham, done and dusted. We'll take a break. When we come back, there's a couple of check-out from Camperdown. We're almost about to wrap things up on the trial show for this week. But Glenn, there's two you wanted us to put into the Blackbook that jumped out at Camperdown.
Yeah, both come out of the Simon Wild stable, Ed, and we'll have a look at them now. The first of them is Dobkins, who's a horse by Impending and was able to win on debut. Went up to Swan Hill there over the short course and got the job done. He was a little bit hot, a little bit keen early, and then settled into his work. He goes to the front here. He's in the grey with the pink, orange cap. And look, he went to town after that. And his first run in town was quite good. His second run just got out the back and was just okay. So they tipped him out. It's come back, it's had a lovely jump out. I think it's a horse to follow. It's got the earmuffs on there. I can't really tell. The ears are sticking up like a V. They might be on, actually. Yeah, I think he's a nice enough horse. Keep him to the short course. Dobkins could win again.
Okay, won at Swan Hill during their carnival. The form lines out of those races are generally pretty good for that time of year. So Dobkins won to follow from the Simon Wild stable. Wasn't asked to do too much in the run to the line. From the same stable, Air of Fortune's the other one you wanted to follow. Feel this is a horse that has its share of ability, but it's still learning how to put it all together. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, and I think you can say that a lot about the Seamus Award breed. A lot of them do tend to take a bit of time. Very good racehorses. Not overly pretty in terms of looking in that, but...
they would be not getting much love on Equine Tinder?
On Equine Tinder, not a lot of love, but very genuine racehorses. And this horse sits second outside again, another horse that wanted to go a little bit keen. Now, he was a big tip at Warrnambool on debut and won easy. So, yeah, he must have some sort of opinion of this horse to be able to step it out on debut over the carnival and get the job done. I think it's a horse to follow. I think can win again.
Coming into this time of year, does it help from your point of view when these horses like Air of Fortune get to the races, one on a heavy track on debut, but then has proven itself on a firmer surface here? So if it does go to the races and it's a good 3, good 4, you think this horse can handle a firmer track? Yeah,
and they have the option too of having a run on the dry there, and if it backfires, they can always put her away and keep her for May.
All right, you've been busy. There's been trials and jump outs all across the state. In summary, who are we following, Glenn?
All right, let's have a look at our list. Cranbourne, Mr Monaco, Willie Do-It, Observer and Plunger. Over at Wodonga, Snapshot, Love Me Tomorrow and Doe. Pakenham, She's an Alibi, Alpha Sophie, Veronia we'll see on Thursday. Dobkins, Air of Fortune, put them in your black book. Photograph, put that away for another day. Stealth of Night we can see on Saturday.
Yep, so looking forward to all of those. Veronia is probably the one I'll take out of this week's show. Have you got one you're particularly excited about?
Yeah, I'm certainly in the camp of Veronia. I think it's a great each way chance. I know it's a difficult race. There's a lot of nice horses, but at a backable price.
All right, let's hope we're cheering on Veronia and coming back with full pockets when we see you next week on The Trial Show.